CBS Sports Radio is WJZ AM Baltimore, WJZ FM HD3 Catonsville, Baltimore, the flagship for Towson Tiger football and Towson Tiger men's basketball.
The opinions expressed in the following paid program do not necessarily represent those of WJZ AM 1300, CBS Radio, its employees and sponsors. This is Coons Ford Terp Talk with Bruce Posner. 60 minutes of Maryland athletics and your phone calls at 410-481-1300. Now, here's Bruce Posner and Terp Talk.
Welcome in, everybody, and Happy New Year. Got to say Happy New Year. A pretty tough week for sports around here. Started last Thursday night when the Maryland women played valiantly, yet still lost to UConn. UConn's 87th straight win. At least they bounced back on Sunday to beat Minnesota. Tonight they played Nebraska on the road at 8 o'clock.
And they moved up, even losing. They went from number 4 to number 3.
Yes, they did, as they should have, because they really gave UConn a battle for the ages. And the birth, well, not the birth, but certainly the national picture of Destiny Slocum came alive. She was unbelievable for the Terps. And then on Sunday, well, what do you say? Just a disastrous loss to Nebraska. We'll get into that in a minute. And then the Ravens quit on Coach Harbaugh after he was talking about what an important win it was. And then for the Washington fans out there that listen online, I know there's quite a few, disaster for the Redskins of ultimate proportions. And then Jordan Williams, former center of the Terps. Wow, this made me upset. I read it today. Former Maryland men's basketball center Jordan Williams was arrested in Connecticut on Friday in connection with kidnapping, robbery, and assault of a juvenile. According to a press release by the Torrington Police Department, Williams, 26, is charged with third-degree assault, breach of peace, third-degree strangulation, and risk of injury to a minor. 3 other individuals were charged in connection with the incident, which police indicated may have been the result of a drug deal gone bad.
Here's a 6'10", 270-pound guy, and he probably thought, well, they'll never pick me out. I'll just blend right in.
What would third-degree strangulation be, Freddie? First degree would be death, I guess?
I don't know. If you're an attorney, call in with our legal helpline hotline here.
Third degree. It's really sad. Remember, if you forget about Jordan Williams, he was the guy who left and kind of triggered the end of Gary Williams' career.
Gary quit the next day.
Right. Well, let's say he retired. Okay.
He quit.
He retired.
He quit. Next. Move on.
Let's see what it says here. After leading, Gary Williams announced his retirement the next day. Whatever. He left. All right, however you want to put it.
He had no center. He quit. He had enough.
Yeah, I don't blame him because it was a tough year that year. And,
it's so bad for the week. The weather wasn't bad. That wasn't terribly cold, so it wasn't that bad. And
you know what's funny? I love my brother to death. It's Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, and there's my brother calling me on the phone. I've been doing the show for how many years, Freddie? Too many. 7 years?
He wants to meet you at Bagby's for pizza later, I guess.
6 o'clock. I love Arnold. All right, let's get into Sunday. Freddie, I don't even know where to start with this game. It was kind of an up-and-down game. Let's look at the good points first. I thought there were 2.
All right.
Kevin Herter, unbelievable. He got the orders from Coach Turgeon after the Illinois game to start shooting. He listened. They ran some great plays for him. 9 for 17 from the field, 7 for 11 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Come on, 26 points.
Tremendous game. The way he was shooting the ball, to me, it was like watching Brian Maggott from the 70s. I mean, just a beautiful stroke. And he just played a great game. And They ran more screens, so he moved without the ball very well, came around the screen, a lot of catch and shoot, which he's excellent at. Great, he has a quick release and a beautiful touch, and he's starting, to be a little more aggressive, and he should be, as all the 3 freshmen should, because they have great skills. But it's nice to see Herter in there, and I eventually will expect him, as they come up on him for the jump, because he's got great ball handling skills and his length. You'll start seeing him put on the ball on the floor and go into the hole more.
just a classic day, and you're giving Brian Maggett a lot of credit comparing him to Kevin Herter.
I'm just saying, when you see a beautiful shot, it's a beautiful shot. But Maryland, a constant problem.
Was Maggett wasn't in the era of the three-pointer, was he?
No, otherwise he would have made somebody. He would have been somewhere because he was that good of a shooter.
Yeah, he would have been a lot better, as would have Verdi Graham. All right.
But, Maryland came out, which it's a terrible habit they've had under Turgeon. That's very slow, lethargic first half, and that continues. The rebounding and boxing out, that's another constant flaw in the team. But that was a horrible loss. When you blow a 13-14, give up 13, 14 points in a row and don't score the last 6 minutes at home, that's not very good, particularly to a team that's unranked.
Even Bender, 0 for 4 from the field, 5 rebounds, no points, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers, no blocks, 16 minutes. Mr. Sikovsky was missing that day. He was missed tremendously. It was good to see DeMonte Dodd come back. Only played 13 minutes, but played well. But I'm afraid that loss of the big men right now, without having Sikovsky there, it rose up the other night. It really did, and Maryland fell behind. They were able to catch up. But when all was said and done, Freddie, you're up by 12 points. There's 6 minutes left. You're at home, and your opposition scores the last 14 to beat you, blaming it on a 1-3-1 lack of offense or lack of practice against that zone.
Let me ask you a question. How many assistant coaches does Turgeon have with him? How many guys in suits
There's a lot.
A lot. Let's say there's 5 assistants and Turgeon. There's 6 guys. There's got to be 50 years experience minimum of coaching basketball. They've never seen a 1-3-1. These guys have iPads, the smartphones. You can Google 1-3-1, how to attack it.
Well, they know how to attack it.
No, they don't. Because
they didn't practice it, Freddie. That's what he said.
So you call a timeout and say, here's what you do.
They did. They couldn't put it together because he had 3 freshmen. They didn't practice it. He took the fall for it. What else you want him to do? They made a mistake. They weren't prepared for it, and they had shown it against Indiana, too.
Yeah, they did.
And he mentioned that, and I think that even compounds the issue that they weren't ready for it. And it's funny, you sent me a nice article today about how to attack the 1-3-1. In layman's terms, try and explain it, Freddie.
Well, if you're a 1-3-1, they have the defense, 1 man out, 3 guys more or less along the free throw line, 2 extended, and 1 guy back deep. So you match up with 2 guards up front. You put 2 forwards or two guys in the corner. Your shooter always runs to the ball side, and you move the ball around looking for that weak side along the corner or on the baseline.
Right, you do some back picking, or somebody on the weak side, a skip pass is usually open for a corner shot. And Maryland's got guys who can hit it.
And they have guys that can pass. It's baffling that, I'm sorry, if you have a 1-3-1, you call a time, you diagram a play. It's not that hard. But this is not the first time either. Maryland's had a problem with the zone, too. Again, a constant flaw. So it's more than just that one game I screwed up here. But I thank him for taking the fall. And every coach in every game, if they lose, should take the fall. Never criticize their kids in the media.
Well, he did. He took the fall.
He did the right thing. It's a learning experience. And I'm still very high on this team. They're great talent, and the big men, that's certainly a possibility right now. That's a weak spot. Gill's going to have to play more inside. He's a perimeter player, but he's 6'8", 230s. He's going to have to use his body inside you need the 5 extra fouls.
Yeah, Gill 0 for 3. He had how many points? 1 point?
Nobody. Mello was 5 for. He scored points, but he was 5 for 15. The only guy that really played was Herter. Dodd hustled. He looked aggressive. I mean, I was confused why Dodd didn't come in late in the game. They were driving to the basket, making nice drives, but getting layups. And Dodd was sitting on the bench. Get a rim protector in there.
Well, Nebraska went small for some reason, and it certainly worked. When I say small, they were still bigger than the guys out on the court for Maryland, but it wasn't their day. Fortunately, it's 1 game out of 18, but let's be realistic. You got to take care of your home court, and they didn't do it, and it's a game that could come back to haunt them. Not because they lost Nebraska, but Nebraska, 2 in a row. They beat Indiana, who all of a sudden lost again last night to Wisconsin. So their bubble has kind of burst a little bit, Freddie. And Nebraska is 7-6, but they're 2-0 in the conference. So the conference across the board, we were talking about it before we went on the air in basketball, has been kind of, what's the right word, mediocre.
Mediocre at best. The ACC with 7 teams is the top basketball conference. And Look, the teams they picked up light with Louisville and Pitt and Syracuse, that certainly enhances the basketball of the ACC. But the Big Ten basketball this year, it's a down year.
Yeah, and also the coming of Virginia Tech, I read where Seth Allen's playing pretty well. ACC's been doing well, and Kentucky's probably still the best, although I'm not sure. And Duke, now, what's the latest on the kid from Duke who was suspended, Freddie? Now, I heard he was demoted from being captain.
Yeah, they took him away, and he still hasn't played, so it's an indefinite suspension, and I'm glad that Coach K did the right thing, because this is the third time that Grayson Allen has purposely kicked somebody. You can't that can't be tolerated.
Yeah, it's somewhat bizarre to see what he does, and
he's like a little spoiled baby.
Yeah, without question.
Good news for Maryland's athletic department. I read in the Washington Post a couple of days ago. After the 2013-14 fiscal year, the Terps were up $2.7 million plus in the athletic department, which is 8 times better than they were a couple of years ago. And if you remember, when Maryland signed to get into the Big Ten, they would not receive full money till 2020. And nobody really thought, I think, at that time when we signed the papers, they'd be in the plus column that this fast. So it's the money is pouring into the Big Ten through the Big Ten Network, and it's fiscally working out for Maryland. And I think overall it's a better move. You know what else has helped them a lot? The Big Ten's got this fund that when they travel, they pay for it. And I think, with all the travel they do, it's not like an expense even when it was in the ACC. Like, for example, the Maryland women go to Nebraska tonight. Well, that's not around the corner. Now, they've been out there for a week. They spent the last week in the Midwest.
And that's right. They were in Minnesota. I'm sure they didn't come home.
No, they stayed out there.
And there's a fund that pays for that. I think that's helping a lot. And
can I get my name on that list when they send the checks out? Where's that fund?
The fund?
Yeah, I have to get my
for
name
what,
on.
Fans?
Well, if they're sending out checks for travel, I'll take a check.
All right, we all would take a check. Let's reverse pivot here and go back to the game Thursday night against UConn, because we were not on the air with TerpTalk since then. And one of the best women's games I've seen, Freddie. And I can't call it a classic because Maryland would have had to have won coming from behind. But Maryland was down 50-31. And at that point, you had to figure, a 25-point loss?
You were saying just don't get embarrassed. And they fought back, and they made an amazing comeback. And they had chances late to win, to get into the game, but to lose by, 87-81? Was that the final, or 86-80?
87-81. And it really...
Great game. I mean, I think... to score over 60 points has been hard for any of the opponents for Connecticut, and they were beatable. I mean, their best player, Samuelson, was sick, though she scored 23. They were in foul trouble all night. Unfortunately, Maryland did not get the ball to Brianna Jones enough. She had only, I think, 9 shots, didn't have enough touches. And Kimbrough,
Shakori
Kimbrough.
Walker
Kimbrough. Marrying them She had a bad game. She was off. And
5 for 13.
Right.
Kayla Charles.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
And, of course,
Destiny Slocum.
The country got to see maybe a great, she was number 2 point guard coming into college, and the way she played, she's as good a point guard as I've seen at Maryland, including Christy Tolliver. She's very, very talented. And, folks, I was there. It was sold out. There were no seats. It was scalping tickets out front, Freddie. Of course, the parking was a little disoriented, but it was really a great night for women's basketball. And but Maryland lost in this UConn thing. How great is Gino Auriemma? He wins. He's about 975 and 130, 11 national championships, 7 Coach of the Year awards, and he's been there since 1985. They started with one basketball and a broken rim, and it's an amazing, Freddie, let me ask you a question. Program. Do you think you take a look at Brianna Stewart? And then this girl, Katie Lou Samuelson. Do you think they come there being the best players of the country, or he makes them that? It's almost unbelievable that you could lose somebody like Stewart and have somebody step into her shoes like she's not there. Well, it's everyone they bring in. That they're tremendously talented and extremely disciplined. I've never seen a team as disciplined as Connecticut's team. Still took that 25-footer with a hand in her face to really win the game by Samuelson, and she had a fever. And I noticed during the game that Gino was just sweating like I could not believe. I saw him when he left it, and I heard he was sick as well. So the flu bug hit UConn. They only played 7 people,
And
half the team's in foul trouble, and they still win.
And they still win. And they certainly got Maryland's best. But that coming out of halftime, Brenda let it go, a 14-point run, which I was a little surprised with.
Yeah, that's the big. How about a timeout? I mean, she got so caught up in watching Connecticut play so well. You can't let a team with a 5-point lead take off 14 straight before you call a TO. That was bad coaching. That's surprising with Brenda because she's one of the best ever.
Hey, how about the way UConn maneuvered itself into layups and little 5-foot jumpers?
Well, that's discipline. They execute better than anybody. And when you have great skills and you're athletic and you execute and you're that discipline, that's why they won 87 in a row.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So basketball goes on. Maryland plays Michigan on Saturday at 3:15. And I took a look at Michigan last night. They're 10-3. They lost to South Carolina, Virginia Tech, and UCLA, and last night to Iowa. That's not a bad losing teams to lose to.
Well, no, Beeline, he loves to use the three, so I would get out on the perimeter because Michigan, I think, is going to shoot a lot of threes.
12 for 35 from the three-point line.
That's a lot. 35 threes. That's a lot of threes.
That means he's just chucking them up. They had 74 shots. That game must have been extremely high pace. Peter Joke for Iowa had 25 points. Great player. But, boy, Michigan is DJ Wilson, a 6'10 senior. They're big, Freddie. They're 6'10", 6'11", and 6'8 up front. And they play like it. They shot 34 for 74, lost to Iowa on the road. But Maryland faces a tough task. They haven't really been on the road yet in the Big Ten. It's a different game. They haven't done spectacularly well there. Do you think they bounce back Saturday, Freddie?
We'll have to see. I think so. It's a good team. Maybe they'll start using a press a little more. Maryland's those smaller, more athletic, force the tempo and get some early turnovers and get some easy baskets.
Here's a stat that'll scare you because we rarely see it with the Terps. Michigan had 21 assists and only 8 turnovers.
Ah, I'm scared. Oh, my God. It's worse than Halloween. That's 20 now. If you have almost 3-1 on assists to turnovers, that's fantastic.
That's
great basketball.
And they lost. They
ain't playing no D.
No D whatsoever.
You got to play some D. Shooting threes, get back on D.
No D, and they got out rebounded. So, but wow, they still scored 83 points, but 21-8, and they lost.
Well, it should be an up and down game with Maryland, and hopefully Maryland. Play a little more, learn how to close that. I think every Maryland fan, as the game was fading away from us, and mellow, and then the last 4 possessions, not 1, 2, 3, but 4 possessions with mellow.
Yeah, I wonder what happens to Kevin Herter this game on the road. Does he continue to shoot the lights out, or does he kind of go back in his hole?
Well, they got to run the plays for him.
Yeah, they ran some great plays for him.
If they execute, he'll shoot. And hopefully he'll be on.
Were you able to pick up on TV the plays they were running for him?
Yeah, they give you a pretty good picture these days. They usually do 2 cameras on TV now, and even the guy on TV talks and tells you what's going on. Yeah.
3, a triple pick, a double pick, the same play. They were doing everything to get him open, and it worked. And he was just special. Just a shame that they lost. And with that, we'll head out to our first break. This is Bruce Posner. You're listening to Coons Ford Terp Talk this week here on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. We'll be back in a few minutes, talk a little bit about the Ravens.
This traffic update is brought to you by Unbound. Traffic continues to be very slow on the JFX heading out of the city. Heavy from Fayette Street up to the Pepsi sign. Interloop delays starting to ease a bit. West side from 95 up to Liberty Road. Just a brief slowdown through that stretch. And then not too bad now through Towson on the inner between Charles and Perry Parkway. Harrisburg Expressway Still looking at delays coming down from Timonium as you make your way to the ramps to the Beltway. We have a crash in the city, Route 40 at Highland Avenue, and we have a disabled vehicle on 25th Street heading eastbound at Guilford Avenue. Around the world, there are young people who face a difficult decision: continue their dream of education or drop out to help support their families. In a single moment, you can help them write a new story. See Potential, Not Poverty at unbound.org. I'm Tony Thornton on CBS Sports Radio 1300.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. You've probably seen it by now. The New York Giants Backstreet Boys photo shoot on that yacht in Miami over the weekend. You've probably seen it because it's catnip for every sports debate show on TV. Was there any show like that did not waste valuable airtime and real estate on that topic? Who cares? I am not going to light up a few guys for partying in Miami the week before a playoff game. I mean, why does anybody do anything? Because they can. And the season is long. And if these guys want to blow off some steam before the second season starts, go right ahead. I'm not going to tell guys what to do on their off days because I don't want anybody telling me what to do on mine. Just know this: if you do something like that and then you run to social media to make sure that everybody knows that you did something like that, you better ball up at go time. Show up this weekend and handle your business, and it's not a thing at all, but get hammered and it's going to be the worst thing ever.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.375%, APR 4.51%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On kellyexchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, kellyexchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit kellyexchange.com today.
No one likes lawyers until they need one. But if you've dealt with an insurance company, you know that you're not in good hands, they're not good neighbors, and they're not on your side. I'm Mike Grossfeld. At Waldman Grossfeld Apple & Bear, we've been protecting the rights of people for over 40 years. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or have suffered at the hands of a negligent doctor, call me, Mike Grossfeld, at 888-8-LEGAL-6. That's 888-8-LEGAL-6. We'll fight for you.
There's no better place in Baltimore to buy your new or used car from than Coons Ford on Security Boulevard, across from Security Mall. Over the years, I have purchased many cars and trucks for GM Dennis Colazzos, receiving the best price, service, and comfort in dealing with a top-notch executive. Coons Ford TerpTalk listeners can view their inventory at CoonsFordBaltimore.com. Coons Ford carries a huge inventory of Motor Trend's Car of the Year, the Fusion, Hybrid Escapes, the 35-mile-per-gallon Focus, Mustangs, Expeditions, and of course the F-Series trucks. Coons Ford simply likes to make a little bit of money many times. What a great place to buy your new Ford. That's Coons Ford of Baltimore, 6970 Security Boulevard, across from Security Square Mall. Take exit 17 off of 695. Remember, when you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Call 410-298-3800.
Isn't it time for your family to have the services of a financial planner? Call Rob Weissman, a certified financial planner. Rob has provided financial planning, investments, and insurance products to the Baltimore community for over 27 years. Rob will provide a free consultation, review your financial positions, and make recommendations. He will monitor your financial plan on an ongoing basis. Call Rob Weissman, 410-653-6260. Rob Weissman is a registered representative of Salmon Securities Company, member FINRA SIPC. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them the TerpTalk guy sent you. Glenberry Transmission celebrates its 55th year in serving the Baltimore, Maryland area with stellar transmission work. My good friend Mark Schwartzman provides factory transmissions remanufactured for sometimes hundreds less than the dealer. Call or email Glenberry Transmissions for a free and accurate price quote at gbt-online.com. 1 year same as cash financing available. Free area towing. Glenberry Transmissions can also supply low-mileage used transmissions with a warranty to fit your budget. Don't forget, we work on all imported autos as well. Call 410-766-8500 when you need transmission work. That's 410-766-8500. That's Glen Burnie Transmissions, 7166 Glen Burnie Highway. I just discovered a great little neighborhood gourmet pizza and Italian-type restaurant in the harbor area. Bagby Pizza on 1006 Fleet Street is just a great, fun place to have lunch or dinner 7 days a week. Bagby's features gourmet pizza, pastas, and salads at more than reasonable prices. Service is quick, there's plenty of seating, happy hour specials Monday through Friday, 4 to 7 p.m. But most important, the food is superb. Bagby Pizza, 410-605-0444. Cunningham's, part of the Bagby chain, the newest restaurant in town at One Olympic Place in Towson. Free valet parking, open every night. The food there is fantastic. I've been there. Decor, the whole atmosphere at Cunningham's is super. I highly, highly recommend it. But of course, when it's part of the Bagby chain and the Smith family, you know it's going to be a success. 410-339-7730. That's Cunningham's at One Olympic Place in Towson.
Welcome back to Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
All right, back here on segment 2 of Coons Ford Terp Talk. This Wednesday night and every Wednesday night here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. And right this minute, before we start our weekly conversation with Dennis Kolatzis, Freddy wants to dedicate this segment to someone.
This segment goes out to non-rev Todd Carden. This is his favorite segment of Terp Talk. Todd, this one's for you.
All right, Dennis. How are you today? How are you today, my friend?
I'm well. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good evening.
All right, Dino. Special conversation last night. He said to me, all right, if you own the team, he said to me, and you had a shot to trade John Harbaugh for a first and second round pick after the season that the Ravens just had, what would Dennis Kolatzis have done?
Oh, I'd take the first and second round pick.
I think Harbaugh would too. All right.
Yeah, I think everybody would be all in for that.
Listen, well, there was rumors about the Rams wanting Harbaugh. And look, you and I both know if anything happened to Harbaugh, it would take him about 3 split seconds to get another job. But let's talk about the real discussion that's going around town. Were you shocked to see that both the offensive and defensive coordinator were kept by the Ravens?
Absolutely, particularly with the rumors that Morningwing was going to be let go after the conclusion of the Bengals game. So I was very shocked that he came out and said everybody's coming back. And you know what? That indicates to me that he's all in and that the team has given him enough ropes to either do something good with it or push himself out. I think this is it. He misses the playoffs next year. I think it's all over and done with.
Yeah, you missed 4 out of 5 years, and you're going to get fired. And I think it's probably best for Harbaugh, best for the team to maintain continuity. bring back the people he's comfortable with rather than bring somebody in, start fresh with somebody new. It's a tough job for the guy coming in new because he knows if the team doesn't do well, the staff's getting fired, and I'm going to lose my job. So I think for the team, though, the one thing that I'm upset about, if they're staying with Marty, they're staying with the West Coast offense, and that to me does not utilizes Joe's big arm because he's not a dink and dunk guy that threw 672 passes this year. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's not only he's not a dink and dunk guy, he's not a sink and dunk guy. He just doesn't make good decisions. So they have to run the ball in order to save Flacco for himself. I'm just really in shock that they're going to bring everybody back. Even Dean Pease, I mean, this team led up 28.5 points per game the last 4 games of the season. They bend, but don't break. They broke the last 4 games at the worst possible times. So, Dean, I don't know that his style works for championship football nowadays. You've got to be aggressive and put some heat on the quarterback. Of course, they couldn't get any pressure with Dumervil and Suggs, but they've got to draft defense. They need an edge rusher real bad, a shotgun corner, a free safety, although the draft is very important, free safety this year. Maybe they can trade for one. Maybe a wide receiver that can actually win 50-50 balls. They've got to work it out for them for sure.
You just mentioned 3 defensive players that they need. So how much is it Dean Pease, and how much is it the general manager not giving the coaches the right enough players to get the job done?
That's a great point, Freddie, because, okay, they've hit on Ronnie Stanley, but they missed so far on Bronson Kafusi and also Kamali Correa, the 2nd and 3rd round picks. Again, we can get about the 4th and 5th round picks that they hit on, but these guys aren't Pro Bowl players. Your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd picks should be able to play in the Pro Bowl at some point, should be able to start relatively quickly in their career. The last 3 or 4 years, they've missed on a lot of high draft picks, and that's fallen on the shoulder of Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta.
Dennis, what bothers me even more than Morningway, and I've talked with you about it, I think that Dean Pease has gotten away with murder in the past couple of years. We had to watch game after game after game when teams take the ball down the field in the 4th quarter, and it was culminated this year in what I thought was one of the worst defensive quarters I've ever seen a team play, and that, of course, was against the Steelers. Just allowing them go down untouched in a prevent situation for 3 touchdowns. How does he, I remember the Dean Pease when the Ravens won the Super Bowl, who would come up with different, like rush all the time or blitz all the time or rush 2 guys and keep 9 back, and there was nothing. It was almost like they were defenseless.
Who was going to rush for the Ravens? Who's for the? If you look for the entire year, who's put on a good pass rush?
Well, then if that's the case, then Suggs is done and Dumervil is done because they both played the game.
Well, I think Dumervil, that's a fait accompli. He's gone. He's finished.
But
Suggs will come back because he's.
My point is, though, he sat back there and just let Ben just pass away, and no coverage off the guys. He just let it happen. I don't know how you could excuse that, Dennis.
Well, consider this again. Going back to Freddie's point of that personnel, the 3 best players on this team are your right guard, your kicker, and your over the hill slightly free safety, strong safety rather. Okay, so it's a matter of talent. They just don't have enough talent. They don't have enough alpha males, alpha dogs to get this team off of the field at the most crucial times. That's what they're lacking, and that's the difference between this team and that 2012 team, for sure.
And once they won in 2012. Harbaugh had that collateral and that cash in hands in a sense and got rid of all these guys that were the alpha males.
Well, you know what, Freddie? If I have a meeting with my staff and everybody's nodding their head yes, I'm in the wrong room. Okay, you need some dissension. You need a different voice. You need some guys with a bit of a twist to them. That's what wins. A bunch of choir boys are not going to win anything. They're not going to get in the playoffs, and they're not going to advance. And that's what he needs. You need some guys with a bit of a swagger, but you've got to also start hitting on some of these players. You can't keep drafting players that can't. Max Williams, right? Now, where's Max Williams at, right? Last year, Perryman? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
and even this year, you can't. These high draft picks and we don't want to go back to Matt Elam and Arthur Brown, right? We beat that dead horse, but they've got to draft players high that can get on the field.
Dennis, right now, if you had to pick who wins the Super Bowl,
I got to think New England until somebody else tells me otherwise. I mean, Dallas may have a shot, but both of those teams have the inside track with a home field advantage. But Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, look, they may be a believer. May not like them, but they get the job done.
Keep in mind the softness of their schedule. And I don't think that could be dismissed as to who they've beat And they're great and everything, but I don't think it's their year. It looks like anybody who gets through the NFC is going to be battle tested and really ready. And in the AFC, with all the quarterback injuries, Pittsburgh could have a cakewalk to the championship game almost if things work in their favor. And to me, it's just not. I just feel that New England's not going to go in ready. But, of course, Belichick always makes them ready. But I'm not happy with what they have to go through. So
give Belichick 2 weeks to prepare for his team, and, it's hard to beat. Keep in mind, he's two freak plays, a football getting stuck to somebody's helmet, and a long pass on the sideline from being 6-0 in Super Bowl.
Yeah, true.
The man knows he knows what he's doing. He's almost like Bear Bryant. He can take yours and beat his. He can take his and beat yours.
Dennis, so once again at Coons Ford, the new year starts. How did 2016 wind up for Coons?
Thanks for asking, Bruce. Number 1 in the region out of 153 stores, number 47 in the U.S. in volume. Won all kind of awards in almost every department, the body shop, the collision center, award-winning. We have a ton of business, a lot of friends and customers that come to us all the time, a ton of referrals to great people like you and Freddy. We get people everywhere all the time, and it was a phenomenal year, Bruce. Thank you.
Tell everybody the story about the woman who tweeted you that she couldn't find the pickup truck she wanted.
I saw her on Facebook. She said, "I'm a Coons Ford, and I can't find the truck I'm looking for." And I said to her, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Go inside and see Ray or Mark." And also I contacted my guys, and she left out there with a brand new Ford Explorer because if we don't have it, nobody else has it. That's
for certain. You got to be up around 300 in trucks there, maybe even more. And
I have a lot more than that, Bruce. I've got 700 trucks and 300 new cars in stock, 1,000 vehicles, plus 200 used, plus all the service. It is controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Unlike the Ravens, which is chaos. We have controlled chaos.
By the way, had my car in the shop the other day, and Carla, the service writer, and everybody there, they're just really care about you, really take care of you. And from the second you walk through that door, the purpose is to do the best for you and also to get it done as cheap as they can, which I really respect.
Yeah, our service department is phenomenal. They go the extra mile for our customers all the time, every single time.
Dennis, thanks a lot. Again, tell everybody where they can find you.
My cell phone, 410-218-0337, www.coonsbaltimoreford.com. I'm Dennis Colossus. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. Google my name. Get in touch with me. I'll save you thousands.
Right, and of course, down the dial a little bit. He's on tomorrow at 3 o'clock on the Sunday Sports Voice. Dennis, thanks a lot for checking in.
Thank you, gentlemen. Go Terps, go Ravens.
All right. Who do you like in the Super Bowl right now if you had to pick somebody, Freddie?
I'm going to go with Dallas.
Dallas.
I think they're on the right kind of roll, and the special quarterback and running back, and it's Dallas's year.
Okay. I told you before I like Atlanta. I think they're on a roll. I think that Matt Ryan having an MVP-type year. They've got the offense. What's his name? Kyle Shanahan's done an incredible job, and I just have a feeling they'll be on a roll. They also have a bye in the first game, as does who's leading at Dallas. So we'll see how it goes, but that's a much, much tougher division.
Yeah, the NFC seems far superior this year than the AFC.
Well, look at the games, Freddie. You got Detroit at Seattle and the Giants at Green Bay versus Oakland and Houston with two new quarterbacks, and Miami without having to use Matt Moore against Pittsburgh. Those two games aren't really marquee.
The only game that sounds appealing is the Giant Green Bay game.
Speaking of marquee, tell everybody about the newest Maryland four-star recruit, Marquise Bell.
6'3", 195. He's a safety out of New Jersey and four-star, and that's off. I mean, you got to play tight ends, and normally you like to have your cornerbacks and safeties somewhat small in one aspect because of your hip movement staying underneath, but a 6'3" and all these 6'6", 6'7" tight ends you're seeing in football now, possibly a strong safety, a good bet. And also these passes, the alley-oops deep in the end zone. Guy 6'3" has a heck of a chance better than a Will Likely at 5'3".
Yeah, he's not that small.
All right, Will's 5'4" .25". I'm sorry, Will.
DJ, has Maryland up to a top 15 recruiting class?
In some in polls, they're number 12 right now, which is amazing. Number 3 in the Big Ten, which is incredible because a lot of these guys had signed before he became a coach. He's never coached before, and it's not a program that's known for football.
Yeah, I just I would love to see it happen one time that they make not a run to the title, but just a run
to the Rose Bowl.
Right. Rose Bowl, I think, is the dream, if you want to ask me. What a game that was the other day, Freddie. What a game.
Between that, the Texas-USC game reminded me of that game, and years ago, Wisconsin-USC 42-37, Ron Vanderkellen for Minnesota bringing back a comeback, which almost successful. But incredible game. Just the quarterback for Southern Cal, the redshirt freshman, I would have to think he is number one now on the next year's draft for 2018.
Well, he's a red shirt, so if he's
got to play one more year.
One more year, then he's going to go. Well, there's no question about it.
He's incredible.
Big guy, too. I mean, big guy.
He had and poised beyond years. I mean, he was just truly a coach's dream.
All right, with that, we're out to our second break. This is Bruce Posner. You are listening to Cougs for TerpTalk this Wednesday and every Wednesday night here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. Bruce Posner here with a message brought to you by Chesapeake Urology. Guys, if you broke your right arm, would you just say, heck, I'll live with it, and make do with the left? Of course not. So why is it so many men with erectile dysfunction throw up their hands, assume it's just a part of getting older, and choose to live with it? The experts at Chesapeake Urology have treatments that can help virtually all men resume a normal sex life. Whether you're 48, 64, or 84, their doctors specialize in ED, and most treatments are covered by insurance. Even if you've tried pills without success, the specialists at Chesapeake Urology can show you better treatments. Don't live with something you don't have to. Call Chesapeake Urology at 877-422-8237. That's 877-422-8237. The Bagby's chain has opened up the new Bagby's Pizza and Woodhome Festival. It's pizzas and salads the way you want it. Get the Big Cheesy for $5.99 or make your own for a little more. 4 sauces, many toppings, super salads, meatball specials. What a great, affordable pizzeria. Call the new Bagby's Pizza at 443-379-0566. That's the new Bagby's Pizza at 443-379-0566. The third Bagby's has just opened in the new Foundry Row in Owings Mills. Signature super Bagby's pizzas, salads, sandwiches, pastas, and yes, even submarines. Hey, did I forget meatball subs? Bagby's Foundry Row is similar to the original Bagby's in Harbor East. Also featured next door is the Bagby Group-operated Foundry Row Wine and Spirits. 2 more winners for the Bagby's chain. Call 410-356-7226. That's Bagby's on Reisterstown Road in Owings Mills. It's my pleasure to welcome the Supreme Neighborhood Market Gourmet again to the TerpTalk family. Now under the new ownership of Andy Huffman, Gourmet Again on 3717 Old Court Road continues its tradition of being a specialty food market with all meals, soups, and sandwiches being homemade. My family and all of Northwest Baltimore knows that Gourmet Again is the best market around. Let Gourmet Again cater any party or special occasion that you are having. I absolutely love Gourmet Again. Call 410-484-9393. Gourmet Again is open 7 days a week. Visit them on the web at gourmetagain.com. The phone number, once again, 410-484-9393. That's Gourmet Again. Situated at 1 Olympic Place in Towson, Cunningham's Cafe and Bakery offers handcrafted breakfast, lunch, and coffee in a casual setting. Featuring house-baked breads and pastries, roasted coffees, and locally sourced eggs and produce from Cunningham Farms, the Cafe and Bakery is the perfect spot for a quick meal or snack. Parking is free across the street. Open 7 days a week. Call Cunningham's Bakery and Cafe, 410-339-7750. Superior Tours continues to serve the Baltimore area with superior price trips to New York, Atlantic City, or wherever your group wants to go. The Comans brothers have only state-of-the-art motor coaches for your riding pleasure. Superior provides same-day service to New York for only $68 round trip or $48 for one-way trips. Atlantic City trips are $38 same-day round trips with great hotel rebates. Call 410-602-1704 and make a reservation with Superior Tours. At Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, the professionals provide the highest quality care to the patients. My friends over at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center are fellowship-trained, board-certified neurosurgeons and interventional pain specialists that specialize in treating all spinal and intracranial disorders with more than 20 years of combined experience. The practice is founded by Dr. Ira Goranczyk and his partner is Jim Conway. These two doctors are perennial Baltimore's top doctors. Not only do they perform complex inpatient procedures, but they also specialize in minimally invasive outpatient surgeries. If you're having problems with your neck or back, call my good friends Dr. Ira Goranczyk and Dr. James Conway at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, 410-664-3680. Once again, that's Baltimore's best neurosurgeons at 410-664-3680.
CBS Radio Baltimore and La Cuchara Restaurant present Whiskey Rocks Baltimore tasting event January 12th, 6 to 9 p.m. Portion of the proceeds benefit Pathfinders for Autism. 1057thefan.com for more.
This is Coons Ford Terp Talk. Call 410-481-1300 now. Once again, here's Bruce Posner.
Welcome back here to the third and final segment of Coons Ford Terp Talk. And it's funny, I got an email today from Sean Ellenby, who does the media work for the lacrosse team. And out of the clear blue sky, it was some article about Matt Rambo saying that he is limited because of his slowness on offense. But he's on pace to break the points and goal records of a program with insane history. I've heard that a lot, and what a joke that is. This kid is so powerful around the goal. It would almost be like criticizing John Grant Jr. around the goal because he's not that fast. But the power that Matt Rambo generates, the amount of winning goals that he has, his success at Maryland has been certainly in the tradition of Joe Waters and Grant Catalino, all three guys wearing the great number 1. And, he has his chance this year to put that mark on it. And, yeah, I'm extremely excited about lacrosse starting. The first game is at Navy in February, early February. But they're deep into preparation right now. They have a scrimmage on the 28th against Virginia. But that's, as they say, just practice.
They wear skates in the end of January when they play lacrosse.
Isn't it ridiculous, Freddie?
It's
it
absurd
is beyond...
for spring sports to be playing, and particularly when you want to have some people to watch for lacrosse and baseball. Yeah, baseball at Shipley Field at February 3rd at 8 o'clock.
It's beyond belief. But now lacrosse is very close to pushing the season back 2 weeks like they should. And if baseball can finish in the middle of June, why can't lacrosse? School's over early May, all right? Yeah, that's why, you pointed to Grayson Allen will start tonight, and that's why he demoted him. That was like his excuse. That was his punishment. I knew it as soon as I read it that he was going to play tonight, a one-game suspension, because without it, they got their heads handed to them by Virginia Tech, and Coach K knows that without him, they're not going to win. I don't know if they're home or not, but it'll be interesting to see when they hit the road. Grayson Allen will play tonight for Duke after his third offense for tripping somebody, and Coach K figures, by the way, this is Coach K's last game for a while. He's getting back surgery.
It's the third surgery he's had at Duke in 41 years.
It's amazing that he would continue to go on if he's got problems. Like that.
Maybe they're correctable problems. He loves what he's doing.
Let's hope so. He's 70. Is he 70 years old?
About 67 years old.
67 years old. All right. Getting back to football for the time being. And hats go off for an absolutely pathetic coaching performance by Ohio State coach Urban Meyer, 31-0, Freddie. And all of a sudden, after the game, he talks about a talent differential between him and Clemson. All right? All I can say about what happened in the Big Ten, and I'm no fan of Penn State, but Penn State got royally, being knocked out of the front four, in my opinion, because they played like a champion, even though they lost in the Rose Bowl. But certainly Ohio State played like a chump.
They got beat by it was annihilation. I mean, Clemson showed their athleticism and skill and looked like a team on a mission. Once they hit the playoffs, they said, you know what, we're going to make up for last year's 44-40 loss to Alabama. I don't care who we play in the next, whoever wins the next game, but they destroyed Ohio State. Ohio State didn't belong there for me for one reason. They didn't beat Michigan, in my opinion. They did not stop. It was fourth down play, and they didn't get the first down. And now, to me, they're the wrong team, and their athleticism, the lack of athleticism compared to Clemson certainly showed. Well, Clemson to me is like it's two SEC teams playing in the final, Clemson and Alabama.
Clemson had a lot of close calls though, but they they've risen to the occasion when it matters. And with this insanity going on at Alabama with the firing of Lane Kiffin the 6 days before the championship game, I think I agree with you, or you agree with me that. Don't discount Clemson in this game, even though they're a big underdog. Clemson looked unbelievable, and I have to tell you, Alabama's offense looked horrendous against Washington.
Their offense has never been like what you would call like wide open in the last several years. They've won by excellent running the ball and good passing, not great passing, and a suffocating defense. And their defense was incredible against Washington. And Clemson, like I said, Clemson lost last year by 4 points, and I think that their whole focus was getting back this year, and now they're rising and peaking at the right time. So I'm going to pick Clemson because who wants to pick the chalk?
ACC 8-3 in the bowl bonanza, as they say. The Big 12 is
who says that?
The 4-2. That's what it's called, the bonanza.
The bowl bonanza.
Big 12 is 4-2. The SEC, Freddie, 6-6. Of course, 12 teams made it. The Pac-12, 3-3. Washington, totally I don't know. They certainly were not better than USC in my eyes, but so be it. And the Big Ten, Freddie, 3-7.
Just terrible for a conference that really had a lot of good football teams. And surprising to the ACC because other than Florida State and Clemson, Miami's pretty good. You don't see really good teams. But when you have 41 bowl games and so much mediocrity in college sports, and particularly in football, this is how a conference can do well because it's just bad team playing against bad team, and then you get it's almost like the luck of the roll or whatever.
Wow, there's more cities that want to have a bowl game. I can't figure out why when you had some of the attendance that you saw. I mean, except for the two semifinals, and I saw some empty seats in those games.
What it costs you probably to put on a bowl game compared to all the advertising that you get for free from all the TV stations and internet and newspapers covering the game. It's worth it.
Well, one thing's for sure, ESPN is taking a bath. They're taking a financial murder here. They're paid, ABC and ESPN paid $100 million to televise one of the NFL playoff games, and they only could sell $25 million worth of ads. That's a loss of $75 million. They are hemorrhaging money. They are hemorrhaging listeners, subscribers. It's not there anymore, Freddie. ESPN is not what it used to be. And Fox News, for the first time, crushed them in the ratings. Crushed them. What's Fox News doing crushing ESPN?
The election.
Yeah, for sure. But still, you're talking about an entire football season.
A lot of people stop watching ESPN because they don't want to pay for it.
The election, you pay for everything on cable.
The people now can choose what they want in a lot of cases, and they're choosing not to have ESPN.
Yeah, well, there's so many other games on between local and network.
People watch TV differently now than they did 5 years ago. People, they watch it on computer, on telephone, on their watches. I mean, they watch it everywhere but a television.
It must be interesting to watch a game on a watch.
They have it.
Think you could call and a close play out of bounds with a watch? Get a replay with a watch.
I don't know.
It is,
you can time how long the replay takes.
I'm going to put it up tonight, just a horrible article about what's happening to ESPN, blaming a lot of it a trend towards some of their political views and how they've just separated themselves from football a little bit, and they're in for a headache. They are lost revenue that's going nuts and fans and everything. But that's going to do it. So the Terps head down to Michigan, up to Michigan on Saturday to play the Wolverines. Big game, Freddie, and then you got Indiana coming back home Tuesday night.
You want to bounce back after a bad loss, and this is on the road, so it's going to be a lot tougher. And then Indiana coming in, a team that's gotten beat up recently after an excellent start, but always a good Maryland-Indiana game is maybe, as we look forward in the Big Ten down the road, might be our basketball rival.
Real quick, the ladies played Nebraska tonight. I'm sure it's on BTN to go, or it might be on BTN. Nebraska's not a good team, but they weren't a good team when the men played them the other night too. So
you can call Bruce at 410-9. No, never
mind.
No,
don't go there, brother.
Follow him on Facebook or follow him to the men's room or something. You'll get the score.
Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on TerpTalk.com. Freddie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Happy
Nathan,
New Year, folks.
As always, Nathan, great job. We'll see you next Wednesday here on Terp Talk.